we will start now.
A human doesn't really look like a turkey in the woods.
You're listening to a Fly Science Productions podcast. Welcome to Stream the Machine. Good evening. That's the first time I've ever had to say good evening for a show.
That's weird.
Welcome to Streaming the Machine. This is episode 11. What do I want to say? Oh, it's the 27th. Man, I'm like so chilled out right now. I don't even know what to do. 7:32 p.m. I guess that's if you're in the Eastern. 6:30, where Tony is. Lots of problems starting with the show tonight, but
Yeah.
seems like we're doing all right. Definitely has sort of a distinct, different. I feel different doing a show at 7:30. It's got
all day and I'm just chill. I just want to chill with y'all.
Yeah, it's a good thing though, because we want this the night episode to be sort of more relaxed. You come in Saturdays and it's very, you're waking up and you're sort of like, all right, let's get this energy.
Yeah.
Now we're like, all right, here we go. Light up a blunt. No, I'm kidding. I don't endorse drug usage. Just relax. Okay, so this is our first Tuesday show. Oh, okay, yeah, sorry. I was reading the notes here and, okay, so anyways, yes. First Tuesday show is supposed to be more laid back. Visit the site after the show or tomorrow or between now and Saturday, or get at me personally, me or Tony, whoever. Let us know how the show goes for you, because, we're trying a new thing here, and we like doing the show. That's kind of why we're adding another one during the week.
Yeah.
We're not doing it because we hate it. But we want to, we want to try different things with this. So let us know how the format works for you guys, and, that we're not going to listen to every little thing you say. So if you just hate it and whatever, and you want us to do all these changes, well, tough luck, because, we make the calls here. But, just to fill in, I guess we don't have to do this. Tony is actually on his phone tonight. He's that dedicated. We're having computer issues, both of us, and he's nice enough to go ahead and say, you know what, let's just do it with this, rather than say, screw it, computer's not working.
Screw it, we'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Did you do anything good for Memorial Day? The weekend?
Not really. I worked Sunday.
That's right. You're a working man. You had a lot of stuff, a lot of work to go. I'm sure.
Yeah. It was my cousin's birthday party I went to, which just so happens to be my parents' neighbors. So really, I just went out to my parents' house and had ice cream and cake and stuff. But as for yesterday, I was planning on going to see the new X-Men movie.
Okay. Well, you should have, because I wanted to bring that up. But okay, go ahead.
I was planning on seeing the new X-Men movie, but that fell through, unfortunately.
Well, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it was more of a longer story. I'll hold off for that a little bit.
Yeah, we can talk about it Saturday, maybe. First of all, I haven't seen it. I kind of want to see it. I really like the first one, but I really can't be troubled to go see movies at the theater anymore. Now that I'm out of the biz, not working in the theater anymore, I'm just kind of feels nice. Don't I don't know. And when I want to watch movies, I'm kind of a big snob about it. I really have to kind of watch it by myself. I don't want to be disturbed. I don't even want a dude sitting 3 rows behind me or in front of me. I don't even like watching movies with Rachel sometimes. If it's a movie that I want her to watch or something like that, then sure. But if it's a movie that I'm I want to watch that, and I want to get my own opinion or vibe or whatever from it, I have to watch it by myself.
I get that.
That's why I really don't go to the theater. It's just because I feel I don't know. If I go to the theater, usually I'll be going with Rachel, and there's going to be a bunch of other people there. It's not as intimate of an experience when you have to go do it in public.
I was planning on watching it, and in preparation to watch it yesterday, I watched the first 2 movies back to back.
Nice.
And because I'm really excited to see it. I love superheroes. And I was I'm going to watch the first 2 because it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
and then I was going to meet my mom at the theater, and I was going to take her to see it. And I texted her, I was like, so you good to see this? And it was like half an hour before the show started, because we had talked about it prior.
Right.
She's like, oh, I forgot The Bachelorette is on.
Oh!
I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
Shafted for The Bachelorette. Nice. Yep. That's exciting. Speaking of bachelorettes, Rachel was at a bachelorette party. I keep saying bachelor party. She definitely wasn't there. She was at a bachelorette party on Friday. So I got to play Wolfenstein and have a lot of fun Friday and Saturday afternoon, most of Saturday afternoon.
Nice.
So Ross will be here tomorrow, actually. Him and his wife are coming. Okay, so this is how Ross and I know each other. His wife goes to school with Rachel. They're both, I think, in the same program.
Okay.
They're both in the same program. And Rachel, at one point last year when I moved out here, was like, she said, hey, well, I know this girl, and her husband's really big into this, and have you ever heard of a game called DayZ? Because that's all, Ross is DayZ fanatic. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, yeah, I've heard of that. Sure, I'd like to meet him. So that's how Ross and I got started was, oh, we like this game and so forth, and kind of went on from there. And plenty of times talked about dinner and whatever, because Ross lives about 45 or so minutes away. So it's not like a quick visit. You kind of have to make a trip with it. And so finally, they're coming out this week, and we're having dinner tomorrow night. We've got probably 100 games on the list of stuff that I wanted to show Ross. Because all this time I'm always, and I do the same thing to you, is I'm always messaging you about games or deals or something. And I'm like, dude, you need to check this out. And so we keep like writing down these things like, all right, check out, freaking Dead Space 3 or whatever, just because there's just so much. But now I'm excited, because I kind of want to show Metal Gear Solid 5, but I also know he's not like big into spoilers. So I'm kind of like, there's a lot of games I do want to show, but you can't show too much because spoil it all over the place.
Yeah, well, thanks for the invite, man.
Yeah, I totally would. And I thought about that too. I was like, man, like that would be such a blast to have some sort of like just live. I mean, this is live, I guess, but some, like not even a reunion, but just like a stream the machine, just everyone together sort of having a blast type of thing. Cause I've heard podcasts that do it, and it definitely does a different vibe, and sometimes it's not that fun, but I feel like for the hosts, at least, it would be fun to kind of do a show like that. So, and you guess what? Someday.
What town do you live in?
Eastern. So I'm an hour ahead of you.
No, what town?
Town. I thought you said time. Sorry. I was like, duh. Eastern. Richmond.
Richmond. Okay.
Yes.
I knew that.
So yes, because Ross will be here, we won't be doing Z the Machine, but that probably didn't come as a surprise to anybody. We're kind of having trouble with that right now. And by we, I mean me, because I'm still trying to figure out how exactly I want to edit it or what I want to do with it. And seeing as the last 2 Wednesdays have been taken up with something, it just gets easier and easier to push it off. So I promise Z the Machine is not yet dead. Just
but
not
the zombies are.
Just not sure how I'm going to continue with it, or how we're going to continue with it rather at the moment. It's still in our minds though, so don't worry. We've got some awesome graphics for it up on the site, so of course we're trying to find some use of. People have done the work now. We can't stop.
Well, Google says here you're only 13 and a half hours away.
Yeah, you know what? It'd be a quick trip. I made it in one drive when I drove out. And my father came out to visit last year, and he drove from Arkansas, which you would think it's, you're thinking like, oh, Arkansas is more east than Illinois is, that must be quicker. Well, no, not exactly, because it's also further south. Close to a 17 to 18 hour drive. My dad made it in one trip. No, wait, no, wait, did he make it in one trip? No, he might have stayed somewhere. I'm trying to think. He might have stayed. You know what? He stayed like 2 hours away, and then like drove the rest that last day. But then when we, whole long story. But then I went back to visit my parents, and we drove back, and that we made in one trip. That was insane. Mm-hmm. Straight 18 hours in the car. I was ready to die. Okay. Well, I had on the notes here X-Men: Days of Future Past. You haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it. I was hoping maybe you had. I wanted
to.
I guess the only thing I'll mention then is that it seems like it was getting good reviews. So let me look at what it's getting now, because the pre-release stuff, like before last weekend, it was doing really, really well. Wow, it's still doing really well.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a couple interviews, and they had, for people who don't know, they have the current cast members like McAvoy and Michael Fassbender,
right,
and Patrick Stewart and Sir Ian McKellen, like,
right. So
both timelines are in the same movie, and they had interviews. I think it was like Yahoo Ask or something, some Yahoo interview, where like James McAvoy and Ian McKellen interviewed each other, and then about their parts. It was cool to just watch, like, have them both talk about their experiences.
Yeah,
playing the same role.
It is really interesting. And actually, you're probably thinking of Patrick Stewart.
Oh, wait, what did I say something wrong?
You said McKellen, which would have been Magneto.
Yeah. My bad. Got it mixed up.
Nah, only saying that because I know someone out there is listening and they're like, "Oh my god, I'm never listening to this podcast again." They don't even know who those guys are.
Yep, brain fart.
So yeah, it's sitting right now at 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is insane. And I think it had 97 when it came out, and guess what? That would have been on 3 reviews or something. So now that all the reviews are in, 91 is still pretty dang good.
Yeah.
Now if these box office estimates are to be believed, what it tells me here, that's also insane because it has 3 times the box office revenue opening weekend than the second place of this last weekend did. So Godzilla sitting at number 2 has 31 million. X-Men first place with 90 million.
Wow.
3 times your number 2. That's insane. Nice work though. I guess it's a good movie from what I hear.
Yeah, it's crazy. What struck me is how small Hugh Jackman is in the first one. Like, he wasn't like a tiny guy, but compared to like these new ones, you can tell he's been on hitting the gym and maybe hitting some maybe not so legal supplements.
Right. It's been a while since I've seen the first one, and honestly, I don't remember really enjoying much of them. I think I liked them at the time, but now when I'm thinking back to it, First Class was such a like dark and serious step forward that I feel like if I were to go back and watch the others, I may not be as impressed. But I don't know. It's been a while, so maybe they'd hold up all right. Mm-hmm. So new movies and then new game. Watch Dogs just came out today.
Yeah.
What's your interest level? Well, I did because it came with my new video card.
Oh.
I was not planning on buying it so early, and I didn't buy it technically. I mean, well, I guess technically it's whatever. It came free with the card, so you can either think about me paying $60 less on the card, paying the $60 for that, or altogether it was free. But yes, I didn't plan on getting it, but since the card had it, I was like, oh, it'd be a nice new game to test the new video card out on, and this, that, and the other. I booted it up last night around midnight because I forgot it came out at midnight, so I downloaded it and then booted up and played just a little bit of it. Seems interesting. It's a little heavy on the gadgetry, like techno jargon type of, just, I don't know, being that I work at a computer place, and let me just be the first to say that I do not know everything there is to know about computers, or even close. I am actually I pale in comparison to some of the people I work with as far as like computer knowledge. But a lot of games and a lot of movies are sort of base themselves on the fact that, people who are watching them or playing them may not know a lot about technology. So then it seems much more believable. Well, when your audience is gamers, chances are they have at least somewhat of an understanding of technology. And so the opening cinematic is very deep into just, name the last techno thriller movie you've ever seen, and them saying, gotta shut down the mainframe, and the guys come, all that just kind of dumb whatever. That's all in the first cutscene. But after that, it kind of fleshed out a little bit. You meet one of the first characters, and then you kind of like, oh, okay, I can kind of get into this. This guy's interesting. He's got a lot of life to him. It doesn't seem to be so cliche and tropey after that, but it's interesting. It's like sort of a Grand Theft Auto with like the controls of like a little bit of Splinter Cell Blacklist, which was their last Splinter Cell game, and then a little bit of shoot, let's see, Assassin's Creed. Good lord.
Yeah, 'cause it's by Ubisoft, right?
Yes. So it's a little bit of their other games kind of sprinkled in there, but sort of in that open world Grand Theft Auto setting. But we'll see how it goes. It's not even probably third on my list of stuff to play right now because I figured I'd get to it eventually. So I'm excited to try it, but just not ready to dive into it just yet.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick it up probably here either later tonight, maybe tomorrow. I don't know. Because, what am I thinking? I've been wanting to play it for a while just because it looked intriguing. Mm-hmm. I am disappointed because, like, the footage they showed at, like, E3 and, like, the gameplay footage was, like, super clean.
Right.
And they hyped it up to be super nice, like, good. And then, so I was looking forward to playing on my PlayStation 4. Mm-hmm. And then, after I saw it was only going to be, like, 900p, I was like, well, I kind of want it in 1080p. And so I was going to pick it up on PC. Uh-huh. But, I don't know if you saw this, they didn't release, like, AMD cards. Like, you warned me about this.
Oh, right.
I was building my computer. But that AMDs can't be optimized for it. Like, which really
blows, yes.
Kind of makes me mad, yeah.
There is a guy I work with sent me the article just the day after I had, like, installed the card and said, look at this. And it's probably not going to run terribly on an AMD, to be quite honest with you. But it's, like you said, it's not going to be optimal. They're not going to, and it's the same issues that they had with Assassin's Creed 4. The drivers and everything are not optimized because they're optimizing the game to fit the quote unquote best card out there, the card that offers more options. And NVIDIA has a lot of, proprietary, features, like just different. I'm not even going to go into it because it's stuff that I don't even understand 100%. But a lot of these extra sort of graphical tweaks that come with the NVIDIA technology that don't come with AMD, so they're not even revealing that information. They're not allowing, AMD to even pick up like, okay, how do we sort of build our drivers for this because it's all being done for NVIDIA. So it is kind of unfortunate. Now, like I said, you might be able to run it all right, but it is something that maybe you'd want to wait to see if it goes on sale or something.
Yeah.
Because guess what? In a month, Steam will have it for probably like $5 or something, and then you can pick it up and see how well it runs.
Summer sales.
Yeah, no doubt. Actually, yeah, that's just coming straight up. Summer sales are going to be great. So, okay, with that, then we have a new news segment. It's a news segment, but it's not going to be sort of your dumb news that we do on Saturdays. I am calling it internet news, which is not 100%, like technically anything you find on the internet could be internet news, but I'm using this as stuff that you might find just by searching your, I don't even know what to say, but it's not going to be your dumb stuff that we do on Saturdays. So this is going to be more of stuff to provoke some thought from us. So, I actually have a bumper for this. This is from another podcast that ended up tanking right before our show took off. So I got to keep one of their bumpers. So nice. Here we go. 404 error, page not found. All right, so page not found, our new internet segment, I guess. Frozen bumps Iron Man 3 down a notch for the all-time worldwide box office hits.
Jeez.
Let's see. As of last weekend, Disney's Frozen has bumped Iron Man 3 down a peg to become the 5th biggest worldwide box office blockbuster in history.
That's insane.
Yes, I have not seen it yet. I've heard amazing things, though.
Yeah, I've seen it, and I'm not all that ashamed. Speaking of which, the song "Let It Go" came on at. Oh, I didn't even mention this. Okay. My cousin got married on Saturday.
Okay.
I kind of just forgot about it until just now, even though that was a pretty big thing that happened. But originally, we were there as an outdoor wedding, so we sat outside, and then we came into the reception. They took a bunch of pictures, and it kind of took a lot longer than I wanted it to, so we sat there at tables with no food or anything for like an hour and a half.
That's terrible. No food?
And
what can you do?
Finally, by the time we get our food, my dad was like, "Tony, you're taking me home," because he didn't drive, and my mom was going to stay. I was like, well, fine. So I take him home, and my brother and his girlfriend, which is more than my car can handle, so I take my mom's.
Nice.
Drive back to pick my car up, and then when I get there is when everyone's starting to dance. So I was like, hey, I might as well just stick around.
Sure.
But one of the songs came on was Let It Go. And my uncle came out to the dance floor, and I belted every single word that I know right at his face. I didn't know all of them, but I was like the loudest person down there.
I'm unaware of the song 100%. I've not looked it up. I haven't done anything. I know it won an Oscar, but I'm not familiar. If it came on, I wouldn't know until the part where it probably said "Let It Go."
Yeah, I mean, it's a good song, but it's only popular because it's from that movie.
Right. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can see. They've got a link here for the other top. Okay, so Frozen's number 5. Unless you want to count Avatar, no other animated films above it. The next closest animated film, oh boy, again, if you want to consider Transformers or Lord of the Rings. Okay, so Ice Age Continental Drift. Let's see. Looks like it's sitting at 11-ish. For box office revenue. So, yeah, Frozen, big stuff, man. That movie broke some major ground. I think that was one of the first things we actually covered on STM, was talking about that being popular and the kind of stuff that it did. So, power to them. Go Disney, I guess.
Speaking of Avatar, at the theater, and we get all those Indian movies. Actually, I don't know. Did we get a whole lot of Indian movies when you were working?
Well, we got, there was one that played there. I don't remember what it was.
It's like Dawn or something. Dawn 2, maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the last one I remember. And then The Raid, but that was, Indonesian.
Yeah, but we get a ton of, like, Indian movies nowadays. And one of them, I cannot pronounce the title, so just bear with me. I'm not even going to try, actually. They hyped it up to be like the Indian or the Indonesian Avatar.
Oh boy.
Like they used motion capture, like CGI, and they didn't even release a trailer for it. They just released 10 reasons why you should see this movie. And I watched a little bit of it, and it looked awful. Just because it looked like an old like PlayStation 1 animation. Like the motion capture and all that was awful. I was like, they hyped this up way too much.
Right, of course they do.
And I was like, that's why they didn't release a trailer. I'm looking at it right now. Because it's that bad.
Yeah, I mean, and they probably spent a lot of money on it, and so of course they're going to overhype it so they can try and get people to come and watch it. That's how it works. That's why I try not to watch trailers anymore. A couple movies I will watch a trailer for, but even like Interstellar, have not watched that yet because I'm just like, I don't want to get overhyped in any kind of way.
Yeah.
Still kind of on the Disney news here, in a way. Godzilla director is set to helm the very first Star Wars spin-off film.
What's the spin-off going to be?
Well, and I don't think that's been divulged yet. We talked about it at work. We were thinking maybe like a Boba Fett or something about the bounty hunters.
Yeah.
Says Lucasfilm and Disney made the announcement today, which would have been May 22nd. What was that, like Thursday?
That was Thursday.
In addition to the episodes of the new Star Wars trilogy, Lucasfilm and Disney have begun development on multiple standalone movies that will offer new stories beyond the core saga. Gareth Edwards, which is director of Godzilla, will direct the first standalone film with the screenplay written by Gary Whitta. Let's see. Walking Dead... Says is the Walking Dead game writer. I hope he's not the writer of the, like...
Survival Instinct.
Right, because that game was supposed to be absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Let's look this dude up. Gary Whitta. Let's see. PC gamer, blah, blah, blah. Screenwriting, game development. Oh, no. Let's see. He's from the good one, the Telltales. He's helping write the Telltale. And those games are awesome. That comes up later in today's show. The Telltale games, amazing. So the fact that he's on there, awesome. That's great. So yeah, I mean, are you much of a Star Wars guy?
Based on our trivia we had the other week, I enjoy the films, but I am not terribly knowledgeable of the universe and what goes on in it. I enjoyed them all. because I watched them all as kids. So even if, like, I know a lot of people didn't like the first, like I guess the prequel sequels.
Yeah, the first couple episodes. Yeah,
episodes 1 through 3. Mm-hmm. Like, I still liked them just because I was a kid and I was like, lightsabers are the best.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen them.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan. I never loved them too much. My dad took them, they re-released in the 1990s. They were originally released in the 70s. They re-released in theaters in the 90s for like a second or a third run, and my dad took me to see them when I was a kid. So I saw episodes 1, 2, 3, thought they were cool. Episodes 5, 6, 7, I guess. 4, 5, 6, good lord. And then didn't care, saw the new episodes, kind of thought the first one was good. And then Knights of the Old Republic, the game came out. And that takes place like 4,000 years before the actual games, the actual films. And then, that was a much darker story. It was very good at, got me into it a little bit. Was sort of much more into Star Wars at that point. But then I kind of dipped back out, and honestly at this moment I don't have much of an interest, especially since Disney's at the helm. I know Disney does a lot of good things, but I also think they're kind of ruining the Marvel stuff too, so that's just my personal opinion. Yeah, I mean,
I'll definitely go see him, but it's not something like I'm super hyped up for.
Yeah, probably the same thing for me too. So spin-off, cool, I guess. I mean, it's the very first Star Wars spin-off, so it is sort of a monumental thing. All right, this next one, I will try to gloss over quickly, even though it's kind of a bigger subject. So Far Cry 4 got released recently. Not released, sorry. Announced recently. It's releasing later this year, and the box art came out, and people kind of threw a stink about this. Now, if you're listening to the show, Google Far Cry 4 box art, or just Far Cry 4, and go to Google Images. You will see it's a dude sitting on kind of like a throne-looking thing. He's got... Looks like he's a lighter skinned guy with a pink jacket on, a pink suit, and he's got his hand sitting on a dude's head, and there's a guy that looks like, native to whatever island that they're on. It basically, to boil it down, looks like what people thought, a white dude being sort of, domineering to someone of a different skin color. And so many people threw a fit about this, because they thought it was this big racial, white dominance, whatever. The developers had to point out that the guy is not in fact white. He might have lighter skin, fairer skin, but he is, I don't think they revealed his nationality, but, I talked to some guys at work and, we're all a different mix of whatever, and they, had looked at it, and I was like, do you think this is racist? Cause I brought this up and they knew I wanted to bring it on the show. And they're like, I don't know, this guy looks, he doesn't look white to me. It brought up an interesting point though, and IGN had an interesting article on it later, was that, we were throwing up this big stink about this character and what we thought, like, oh, it's a villain and he looks like he's being racist by being, making this other guy submissive. And,
that's the point. He's a villain.
Right. He's a bad guy. So if he does bad things, like, isn't he like, as a villain, whether it's a movie, a book, a game, whatever, they're kind of supposed to do bad shit sometimes to make you hate that character. And so let's even for a second think that this dude's being racist, that whatever this is, for whatever reason, that guy's, neo-Nazi, whatever. I don't understand. I feel like we're throwing stones here just to cast stones, like just arguing for the sake of arguing. It's like, here's a guy that, looks like he's white. So we're just going to assume that, the developers, they all must be racist. Like, I wanted to bring this up, and it wasn't really like a good news article, I guess, but I wanted to bring up both points, was, that this got this big, controversy. And, so they had a quote here from, one of the, let's see, does it say the creative director for Far Cry 4? And he posted on Twitter, and this is, his tweet said, just so it's clear for those jumping to conclusions, he's not white, and that's not the player. Yeah, I don't know. I did want to bring that up though, because that was sort of a big thing last week, was this big like racial outcry of, like, oh, Far Cry 4 is going to be racist, and this guy on IGN had a really good point, was that, even if that's true, Like, are we at a point where we just want to censor everything we see and not even our bad guys can be bad anymore because we don't want them to stimulate these negative emotions? I don't know. I thought it was interesting. We don't have to stick too much on it, but, yeah, I kind of fell on his side of things as far as like, well, the guy's a bad guy. You know, it's a story. This isn't real. You know, like the thing that won Best Picture this year wasn't it about slavery and, you know, the
12 Years a Slave.
Right. And so it's like, I don't know. I was shocked in a way. I guess I shouldn't be shocked. There are morons everywhere that want to fight everybody about something.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, with movies now, like, if movie is like dark and edgy, it's like praised for like doing that. But video games, if they're like violent like that, and they're like, oh, video games are turning kids into terrorists, like, and crazy people. Like, violence in movies are like, okay, yeah, cool, it's a story.
Right. Well, it's
but
because they, you know, and this is a much deeper topic for another day, but it's, you know, no one takes the gaming medium as a serious, artistic tool yet. Or something that can tell a good story. They see it as dumb fun, which guess what? Some games are out there for some dumb freaking fun, and that's fine. But there's so many more now that are trying to do this sort of, you know, telling a story and making a point, and really, Far Cry 3 touched on some big philosophical points. I don't think it was a perfect game, but I was actually kind of shocked by how, like, great, you know, how well it presented certain points, and, you know, they're no longer just there for, you know, shooting a guy and that being it. Now there's a reason for it. Now there's something driving it. There's something driving your character. There's something driving the guy you're shooting at. There's so much more than just surface level, like, oh, that guy's white, that guy's not. Obviously, there's racism going on here. I don't know. I did want to bring that up, and may not have been a great news topic. It's more of an opinion piece, I guess. So there's that. We still don't have. We decided to move our game segment from Saturday to today in order to make more room for it, because as you can tell, we kind of talk a lot sometimes about games. Unfortunately, I still don't have a
bumper. A
bumper. So we have this.
Can't have sex with bones.
That's about as close as we're gonna get. Thank you, Chaw. Okay, so a couple deals I wanted to talk about for games this week that are going on currently. Now, these deals today are going to be better than your Saturday deals, because the Saturday deals I used to give you probably expired in like an hour, because most things do like 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 Central, that they reset everything. So now these deals you have until tomorrow, so go out and buy them. I'll just gloss over these. Dead Space 3 for the PC is $5 right now on GameStop's website. You have to use a kind of a dumb GameStop downloader. It is basically like GameStop's version of Steam. However, if you click, like right click, go to properties or whatever on the games that you get, and you look for the CD key, 9 times out of 10 you can take that CD key, go add it to your Steam account. And actually, you won't be able to do it here because Dead Space 3 is not on Steam, it's on Origin. But you can probably add it to your Origin account. I did that for Tomb Raider because I didn't want to play it through GameStop's dumb little client, so I put it on Steam and I could run it through Steam fine. Normally retails for $20. $5 is a heck of a deal. A lot of people didn't like Dead Space 3 because they kind of thought it went the action route, but I still feel like the characters are good and the story kind of continued in a logical way. Definitely not as much of a horror as the previous 2 Dead Spaces, but I still think it's pretty solid.
The first one was
very good.
So scary.
Yes, it was. It was
terrifying. I got that right as I got like my Turtle Beach headset from my PS3, and I'll just be in my basement on this little TV, sitting up close with that headset on. Mm-hmm. And man, it is even worse with headsets because there's little tiny sounds, like the attention to detail on those games is just phenomenal.
Yes, really good. I have a soft spot for not only horror, but this is sort of falls sometimes into psychological horror, and it also takes place in space for the most part. So sci-fi horror, count me in 100%. Bastion for PC right now on Steam normally retails for $15. It is $2.50.
Ooh.
Now, I didn't love Bastion, but a lot of people did. I liked it. I thought it was a good game, but I did not like rave over it real bad. It's very good. It's got it. It's an independent game, and was one of those games that shows you, like, most people see indie games as like, oh, they're these crappy little, you can kind of tell when you play it that they didn't have enough money. This was the kind of game that once you played it, you're like, this is an independent game? Like, this is made by an independent company? No way. Very good. Sort of like an action RPG with some interesting storytelling elements. Actually got Rachel to play it for a while. She enjoyed it. So $2.50 on Steam. Unfortunately, all the deals this week are on PC because that's the easiest for me to find. So if you don't have a computer, what are you doing with your life?
PC Master Race.
So, and then the last one here, I wanted to bring up The Walking Dead Season 2, and I imagine Season 1 probably is on sale as well, but I didn't check. Season 2 and The Wolf Among Us are both on sale, not for a conjoined price here, but I think it's like $16.50 for Season 2 of The Walking Dead. It's about $18 for The Wolf Among Us. Very, very good games. They're both very different from most games you'll play, as they're very story-driven, so it's a lot about talking to, people sort of making decisions. Have you ever played Heavy Rain?
No, I have not.
Okay. It's similar to Heavy Rain, but sort of better, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
Some quick time events, stuff like that. It's very story driven, though. It's not an action game. You're not going to get out there killing zombies or doing whatever. Pretty solid stuff, though. I really enjoyed it. Season 2, I've played up to episode 3, which I have yet to play. And then The Wolf Among Us, I still haven't played episode 3, and I think episode 4 just came out today. So I definitely need to catch up on those. Wolf Among Us is pretty good. It's based on a DC comic, actually, Vertigo Comics. It's an interesting twist on some fairy tale stuff. Both of those retail for $25, and they're both approximately $7 to $8 off. So pick those up. Those are really good. Especially if you like The Walking Dead. The Walking Dead games are really, really, really good, like supplemental material.
Agreed.
Okay, so what we've been playing lately. Have you been playing anything specific? We talked about Infamous before the show, and I had some other stuff. Have you been playing the PS4 at all?
Not honestly. Since I built my PC, I haven't turned my PlayStation 4 on at all.
Yeah, I haven't been doing mine much either.
I feel bad because I dropped a whole bunch of money on this thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, there hasn't really been anything since Infamous that's came out that's really like attracted me back to playing it.
You know what? I played through a bunch of Metal Gear Solid. I did a bunch of Dynasty Warriors and Bound by Flame, and now I went back after Bound by Flame. Actually, I went to try a bunch of other games on the PC, and that's where I'm at now, is sort of going through my PC fix. Wolfenstein came out on Tuesday. I picked it up on Friday. Very, very good. The games that you're ever going to hear me talk about on this show, I'm always going to say that they're brilliant and amazing. It's generally because I'm not going to be bringing up the thousands of other games I've played that aren't as good. So I risk being hyperbolous and making everything sound amazing, but truly I won't bring it. Generally, I wouldn't recommend a game if I wasn't sure, at least in some way, that someone would enjoy it. Wolfenstein is very good, very dark. Again, we talked about, developers wanting to sort of push the envelope and, see how far they can test their limits. I mean, that story is about, World War II and the Nazis, and in this one particularly, the Nazis actually win World War II.
Ooh.
And it hits with some heavy stuff, man. I mean, it's, I don't want to get all spoilery, but you definitely see sort of the horrors of war. And, it's a depiction of this. It's not real, blah, blah, blah. But it's, as much as, part of it's based on fantasy, the parts that, that they have pulled that are realistic, stuff that you get from accounts of people who have been in, war like this and have seen this kind of stuff go down. I mean, it really sort of off-puts you. It's, watching certain scenes, it's almost difficult because they really, 1 minute you're doing all these crazy, action stuff, and the next thing you know, you're like witnessing these crazy things. You're like, oh god, that stuff really happened.
Yeah.
really, really intense stuff. I enjoyed it though. I'm enjoying Wolfenstein. Haven't beaten it yet. It's got an excellent soundtrack. I'm actually really impressed with the soundtrack.
Yeah, my brother actually, he texted me yesterday that he was gonna pick up Watch Dogs today, and he was like, "What other game should I pick up with it?" Because he just graduated, and
tons of money.
He's got tons of time, and he'd got a boatload of money.
Yes,
from all the people invited to his party. So he's got money to blow, and he was looking to spend it on a game. And he was texting me a picture of Battlefield 4, Need for Speed, whatever the new one was for PS4, and Wolfenstein. He's like, "Which one should I get?" And I'd heard, I've played Battlefield 4, and it was fun, but it wasn't like the greatest. And Need for Speed, I was like, it's just like, to me, racing games are all kind of the same.
Sure, yeah, they're not a lot different between them. Yeah. It's small subtleties to someone who's played a bunch of them, I'm sure, but not to us.
Yeah, and so I was like, definitely Wolfenstein. And I think didn't get back to me. He said, "Aight." So I'm guessing that's what he went with.
One can only hope. I think it's really good. There's a lot of great action stuff, a lot of good just game stuff that makes it a great game. And then the story, I'm actually shocked with how good the story is told, because I played through the older ones recently to sort of prep for it. And they're good, but they're not great. Like the first one's really good. The second one was very, I'd have trouble recommending it even to someone who is wanting to play a Wolfenstein game. And then this one comes along and just blows me out of the water with how solid the scoring is, and how solid the voice acting, and just the animations, and just everything is really good. To a point of where I think it's an important piece of just sort of showing what this thing can particularly do. I think it's a good chance to revitalize that series if they continue to go forth with that, although I don't know what they do. I haven't beaten it, but I'm assuming after the Nazis win the war, I mean, that's kind of at the end of the Nazi timeline. I'm curious how far they can take it. Let's see what else. I did a little bit of State of Decay, which I don't know if you've heard or seen much of that.
I have not.
It's basically, I would describe it like a zombie simulator. It's a zombie game, but you spend your time. So if you've ever seen, we've talked about it. You've seen The Walking Dead. It's the game that feels the most like The Walking Dead that isn't like one of the Telltale Walking Dead games that I just mentioned a moment ago. Because you're living with other survivors. You have to go out and find food. You have to go out and find all these different kinds of things, ammo, this, that, and the other. It's not, exactly a hack and slash, although there are moments of it where you can just kind of hack through zombies and stuff, but you'll get overwhelmed pretty quickly at times. It's a terrible idea to travel at night. There are all these different things that sort of play into it, that give it a very simulaty type of experience. It's fun. I was enjoying it. I don't know 100% if I'm going to go back and pick it back, continue with it, but, I was having a lot of fun. I played a lot of it yesterday. And it was entertaining. It was giving me my fix for something completely different. I've owned it for a long time and never really played much of it. Because before on my old graphics card, my old one, it didn't run very well, unless I turned the graphics down quite a bit. So now that I can finally run it fairly well, I decided to pick it back up. It's good. It's not, I wouldn't recommend it for everybody, but it's interesting. On the same topic of zombie games, I did also a little bit of Dead Island, Epidemic, which you had said that you had played. Wait, let's see. Were you the one telling me that you had played one of the other ones, one of the other Dead Island games?
Me and Logan lived at my house. For those of you who don't know, Logan's also my neighbor. One of my best friends from high school, and worked with both me and Jake at the movie theater.
One of the greatest dudes. I think I said this like the first time that you were on the show. 3 of you that were amazing. You, Logan, and his brother Kevin. Like the hardest workers in the theater that I knew of. So yes, Logan's an awesome dude.
Well, thanks. But yeah, he was staying at our house for a few weeks. And he had he brought his TV up into my room, and we both picked up Dead Island.
Nice.
And then we just both played online and co-opted and just killed zombies for hours.
Really fun game. It's I did it when I was watching The Walking Dead about a month or two ago. I went through a huge Dead Island phase because all I wanted to do is kill zombies. Really fun. It was nice, and it's got the RPG element, so it's almost like Fallout with zombies, or I guess Skyrim you compare it to, but less open world. But it's fun. I liked it because if anyone knows me, I'm a huge RPG fan. So if there's a way for me to level up, to progress, and get skills or do anything like that, you count me in 100%. Epidemic is a little different. It's have you ever played League of Legends or seen anybody play it?
I have not.
Okay, it's this new genre that's taken up in the last couple of years. Basically, where you kind of control it like you would if you've ever seen this is gonna be hard to explain. It's a very hard genre to explain sometimes. But have you ever? Let me think. StarCraft or Warcraft or any of those old, what they would call an RTS, Age of Empires?
Yeah.
Okay, so kind of like that, over the head, control your unit, stuff like that. Well, with these new ones, they're calling them MOBAs. It's like Mobile something Battle Arena. I can't remember.
Is that there's the Lord of the Rings game, like Battle for Middle Earth or something?
Yes, it's
100% like that?
Very similar, yes. So they've got both.
Yeah.
They've got PvP elements to Dead Island Epidemic, and they've also got PvE, which is just you and some buddies teaming up and helping out each other and completing missions. The PvE content, the stuff that you do with friends, the co-op stuff, is very similar to like a Diablo sort of top-down, using your skills. It's in beta right now, so there's not a ton of features, but they've got that, and then they've got the PvP, which is you versus other people, and that's more like like you said, the Heroes of, or whatever it was called, Battle for Middle Earth. I can't remember, but you're right.
I think it was Battle for Middle Earth. I can't remember.
That was one PC game. It's not Battles. Let me think. Guardians of Middle Earth.
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, it's very much like that with the PvP. Pretty good. You kind of, it retains some of the Dead Island traits from the game. You level up outside, you level up your profile or whatever, and then you can craft items to use on your characters. And then when you go in, you kind of start fresh every time. So every match, you always start your character at level 1 and level up and go and do whatever you got to do. But then you have your overall level on your account back every time you come out. It's interesting. Like I said, it's in beta, so it's not fully featured yet. But that's another one that I was trying out recently that I hadn't really played before very much. It's fun. I'm enjoying it because it's like I said, it's kind of a mix of that almost kind of Diablo style with more of that Guardians of Middle Earth style, and I was never 100% sold on that competitive nature because I'm not always very good at those games. So this kind of bridges that gap and gives you a lot of co-op stuff that you can do, sort of in the vein of Dead Island.
Yeah, and you actually gifted that to me on Steam.
Yes,
right?
I have tons of beta keys. Another friend of mine and he's the one who gifted it to me to begin with, and we were just talking today, and he said since last night he was given 2 or 3 beta keys. So they are handing out beta keys left and right, I guess, to try and get people to join up. And so last night I went through my friends list on Steam, and I was like, all right, who doesn't have this game? And I basically just handed it. I gave Norbom code 2 as well.
Nice.
So, I was hoping that maybe someone out of the group of people I handed it to would take interest, because it's interesting. It's definitely something I feel like you need to put time into a little bit in order to enjoy it, because when you start out, you don't have much, and that's kind of the problem with these games, is that for new people starting out, if you don't start with at least a little bit to sort of whet your appetite, people are going to be like, forget it, which is what I did. I started out and I was just like, there's not much here, and I moved on. And so now when I finally went back, I was like, all right, I'll devote an hour to it. I actually found it was pretty entertaining.
Nice.
Well, gee, let's see. I was all worried about time when we were sitting up in the middle of the show talking about news, but we did really well. We're sitting at about the 45-minute mark. Oh boy, I don't know if there's really much else that I had on the slate for today.
I can't say. Nothing comes to mind.
Well, and you know what? This was kind of a test show. I mean, it's we are going to continue doing this, but we're just trying to figure out what kind of content we can fit in here. What we can talk about. Because God knows, if I had taken that game segment that long on a Saturday show, we've been giving Ross, like, okay, Ross, we got the last 15 minutes of the show, let's go. And, pulling them on and that'd be it. So at least with this way, we're looking at our watches and we've got plenty of time. So that's good because that means, we can always ramble about this stuff later on. So, if that's it, I guess we might as well just go ahead and count this one early. We don't get to do that very often. We run our Saturday show longer sometimes. Next week we can think of more stuff we can throw on the show. Maybe I'll put an extra article or two. I only picked a couple today. Didn't want to get too ahead of ourselves, but we did all right. So in that case, let me cut this smooth jazz music. There we go. Now we're all serious. Hold on. What's something serious I can play here?
Kapuya! Kapuya!
That's very serious. So that's the end of our Tuesday show. Tony, if people want to help out with our show, they're listening in and they're like, man, these guys are good, but how can we help get more listeners? Because guess what? It's fun for us to have more of an audience, but if people want to talk about the show with somebody, they don't have anybody to talk about the show with if it's, if they're the only people they know that are listening. So how can they help us if they want to spread the word?
Spread the word. You can find us on social media, on Facebook, Twitter. Facebook, I believe, is just facebook.com/stream the machine.
Correct.
Is that correct?
If that's not correct, that's what it should be, but I'm pretty sure that's it.
And then on Twitter, we're at STM Podcast.
True, yes.
We post every now and then during the week, and then usually the day before and the day of right before we start the show. And just obviously that helps, like giving us a like or maybe a retweet or a share. All of those social
Shares
media
are great.
buzzwords.
Because with sharing, at least, it's the way Facebook works, and we don't really have like a major audience anyways, but Facebook sometimes will filter out what your followers get. I don't think we're to the point where it really matters yet, but you get to a point where you have so many that they will actually cut out, up to, I think I saw some people were only getting like 10% of their fans were getting stuff, seeing from their page.
Wow.
I mean, it's pretty bad
That's
sometimes.
like then that means we'd have like one fan.
Yeah, we'd have less, less than that. So, the sharing on pages helps because it gets other people to see our crap. So, I usually do a share. Sometimes Tony will do a share on the day of the show. If you share the show, everyone on your list might see it and they might go, hey, that person, I like their taste and stuff. Let's see what this is about. Maybe we're their cup of tea, maybe we're not, but you're never going to know unless they actually give the show a try.
Exactly. And I mean, besides social word of mouth or word of keyboard,
yes,
you can sponsor a segment, which now there are more segments to sponsor because we just added the 404 page not found.
Yes.
And the game segment. So that it's a $5 you can buy a $5 segment sponsor, and we pretty much you can fill it with whatever you want, a charity, your local business, what have you, anything.
Even if you want to say nice things.
Yeah.
We'll say nice things on the show. Don't matter.
No one took me up for that poem. I offered a poem, and no one took me up for it.
Yeah.
They just don't have faith in me. I might just write one anyway.
We'll keep broadcasting it. We'll get somebody to do it someday. You can find us on the Patreon page, patreon.com/stream the machine. The way that works, you just can sign up, give a donation. You can even support us without giving a donation. Don't even do it. If you're like, you know what, I like the show, don't really know if I want to contribute money. All you have to do is hit support there. And then when you go to do the support, it'll ask you if you want to do a donation. The second option or the bottom option or whatever will say, no, I would just like to support this creator. Do that. We don't even, you don't even necessarily have to donate to it. Just give us some support. It helps us to know that, there are people out there who might like what we do. It makes us feel better about what we're doing, Like I said, we always do this because we like it, but we want other people to enjoy it too. Not gonna do music, I don't think, for our Tuesday shows, but you can always send us in your music. We'll play them on Saturdays. Always gonna be having both songs play on Saturday, so send in your music. If you know someone that does music, tell them to send their crap in. We want to play it. We want to play what you've got so we can, scratch each other's back. You give us stuff that we can put on our show that fills our need, and we help you get some, you wouldn't believe how many songs I've played that I get a message later on saying, who was that? That was really good. Or, and I always point them to the site and say, well, there's a link up there. I always link people to the site. If you have an iTunes page, I usually link to that. If you got Bandcamp, I'll link to that. Anything that we can help you get out there. Can find me on Twitter, although I don't tweet very much. Find me on Twitter at RedefineJack. You can get Tony on Twitter at TonyDePalma51. Visit the website, leave feedback, everything like that, streamthemachine.com, figure out when we're doing shows, live streams, all that kind of stuff. Tony, thank you very much for agreeing to do a Tuesday show. I like the way today went. It was very relaxed, didn't feel like I had to do much extra, which is good. We're getting to a point where, we're kind of in the zone at this point.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like work anymore.
Which is good. So yeah, that's it. This Saturday, 10:30. Eastern, 9:30 Central, will be episode 12. We will have things like Ross. He will be back. Stuff like, I don't know. I guess our goofy ass news that we normally do.
Yeah.
So yes, all that stuff will be there, and more. Now, you know what I just realized? I don't think I have a segment to play us out because I usually don't quit the show without doing a song.
Should just sing.
Hold on, that's not gonna work. I think I might have something. Let me search for it here. Podcast bumpers, music, tag, play sound. Oh, you know what?
I was thinking that when you said you weren't gonna play music on Tuesday shows, like literally a minute ago. I was like, what are we gonna go out on?
Huh, well, here, I actually do have something. I used this for another podcast that again didn't really go through well, but I've got this. This is actually, if I remember correctly, this is actually original music from Adenium, which is the band name that I write my music under. It was some song I used for something else, and then decided, you know what, that sounded kind of nice. Let's go ahead and use it for an outro theme. So here I have it. We are going to play this. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Tuesdays. Hold on a second. We've got to have something else. It feels like we're leaving something else. We got a little bit of this and a little bit of that. So, wouldn't be a show without one of those, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Come back Saturday. We'll have a good time. I will see you later.
Bye-bye.
This has been a Fly Science Productions podcast.
Well, gee, that was almost nothing on the end of that. Where was my thing that I wanted to play? That wasn't it.